So another tool I want to show you that we didn't quite go over in class very much is the bridge tool. Some of you saw me use this if we were fixing individual problems. But the bridge tool happens if we end up with a hole in something. So let's say you need to get rid of some geometry because it has gone a little bit sideways. If you're getting rid of a whole chunk of something, you go into face mode and you can select all those faces and cut them away. But of course, you're obviously left with a hole. um, so the way we can fill this hole is the bridge tool. The bridge tool works by you select edges across from each other, so there have to be kind of like equal amounts and even amount. And when you hit the bridge button, it does this. Now, obviously, this is not great. This is a bazillion-sided polygon. We would need to cut into it, and we can use the the multi-cut tool, excuse me. But I can also show you an example of how this works. It doesn't always have to be the full edge loop. It can just be these two here, and we bridge across. And that at least gives us a little bit of information. Now, it might be tempting to go across this way and go across this way, but that's actually not how the edge loops work on the bottom and the top of this. So that gave us this part, but then I would need to still fill in this like this and this like this. Now, don't fill in across this way, wait, and then fill in across this way. Because what you will actually get, it looks correct. It looks like, oh, this is what we need. But it's this, the face going across this way, and this, the face going across. There's two different faces. They're not, there's no vertex here. You can actually go, if you go into vertex mode, see how there's no vertex right there? That means it's two overlapping faces, which is not great. So we're going to delete that other one. So if we want to fill this in, we are going to have to cut a little bit. So that's not an edge. There we go. So I fill in this one, I fill in this one, and I can kind of look to the bottom to see, okay, what I really need are the edges going across. And thankfully, because I need them going across this way, so it's one across the middle and then one on each side. So I'm going to go to my multi-cut tool, which we went over earlier, and I go to the edge here, or corner there. I go to the corner there and I hit enter, and it cuts all the way across. Corner there, I hit enter. Make sure you hit enter before you start drawing a new line, otherwise you're going to get craziness. All right. Now, this, you don't want to cut across here or from here to here because we need these to be a four-sided poly. 1, 2, or actually edge mode will be more obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not the best four-sided poly right now, but that's okay because this is not a finished edge. Right? Eventually, you would do something like this where it is actually looking like a quad. This is a little bit more in line, and we don't necessarily want that. But eventually, this is, as long as the top part is flat and you are continuing with what you're doing, then you're fine. So just make sure that you're, keeping things consistent. But I know it's tempting to look at this and go like, oh, I'm going to go across here and go across here. Well, if you do that, you end up with a triangle right here. And it means your edge loops don't match what's going on because it looks like an edge loop at the top here, but it's not at the bottom, right? So use what already exists to your advantage when you're trying to figure out where stuff should go.